And now, the survival show that once survived wearing mismatched socks to a debutante ball. In this episode, we sit down with Alana Barfield, two-time contestant on Naked and Afraid. She's going to defend us against internet trolls, tell us the reality of reality TV, bully us a bit, and organize our sock drawer to get us ready for the zombie apocalypse, or whatever comes next. Howdy and welcome to In the Rabbit Hole's Urban Survival Podcast. This is episode number 192. I'm your host Aaron, and you are in the rabbit hole, safe and sound. Alana, welcome back to In the Rabbit Hole.
Hi, thanks for having me here.
So good to talk to you. It's been a long time.
It has. It's been too long.
Yes. So the last time you were on, the Naked and Afraid XL had not finished airing yet. So there were a few things that we couldn't really talk about. And I think the other interesting thing is you've had a lot of time now to reflect on the experience. And I think it'll be interesting to maybe find out if your take on any of these things has changed and maybe how that experience impacted your preps.
Yeah, it was definitely an eye-opening experience in many, many ways.
Was it that much different from when you did your solo?
It really wasn't that much different as far as the survival aspect, just that nitty-gritty food, water, shelter part of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was different just having all those extra people around, and not just other people to survive with, but about 40 crew members running around all the time. That was a nightmare in and of itself.
That's interesting. How does the crew being there impact y'all? Because they go like away to their own tents or whatever at night and leave y'all alone, right?
They there are a couple that stay around at night with the medics and stuff if anything goes down, but the majority, they go back to the hotels.
Okay.
So they come back first thing in the morning smelling like eggs and bacon and coffee. And it's really awful for the rest of us that are like eating bugs and really hungry. And then we get this like smell of bacon walking by. It's torture.
Wow. I would imagine that would be, because I mean, from what your sense of smell would be heightened too. And so they're coming in smelling like soap and bacon and eggs and coffee, just driving you nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And some of them were courteous enough to try to avoid that. Like they would eat and then try to like brush their teeth afterwards, or they wouldn't use really fragrant soap. Like they'd maybe wash their clothes in the sink without soap or something, just because they felt for us. But most of them did not give a crap.
What impact did having that many crew members around y'all filming all this stuff, what impact did it have on y'all's day-to-day activities and stuff like that?
Well, it basically dictated our day. With that many people in and out, running around, and forget about wildlife at all. Anywhere. Like, it's gone. And we had to be really careful we could only walk around in certain areas, or we couldn't do this over here because they couldn't reach a camera over there because it was water, or maybe they couldn't carry their equipment down this certain trail because it was too tangled, so we couldn't go down there, or
oh wow,
things like that. Like we could go wherever we needed to for the most part, but we had to stay within a certain range of the medic, because if we went down a certain cliff and got hurt, nobody could get to us there. They couldn't get a stretcher down there, so we couldn't go. Stuff like that. I mean, there could have been a ravine full of M&Ms and we couldn't have gone down there because of it. So we really were surviving around them. It wasn't like it was in my first challenge where it was just 2, maybe 3 crew members at the most at any given time, just in the distance observing me. This was very in your face, production, direction, instruction, and we were basically their actors without a script per se, but we were under direction for sure.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
survival scenario. It was basically we were kind of like actors, but we weren't being fed or put up in a hotel or anything like that. So it was really terrible working conditions. I'm gonna tell the Screen Actors Guild about this, but
oh man, that's
it's really not a realistic survival scenario at all.
wow.
It was just a big like mind warp the entire time.
So was it? I mean, aside from the crew itself, was it easier or harder surviving with that many people?
It is a little bit easier surviving with other people. Pretty much my whole kind of prepping survival life, I've always kind of been that lone wolf mentality, like, oh, I'm better by myself or with as few people as possible. People are a burden, people are problems. But through this experience, being forced to work with other people, you do find out that more hands is less work. If you do share responsibility, you delegate tasks and you rotate tasks so things don't become just so monotonous and so mind-numbing. And it's just nice to have people to talk to and vent to, because you're all in the same crappy situation. So it's nice to be able to talk about it with somebody else that knows exactly how you're feeling. So for just that mental aspect alone, it was really, really nice. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that, I mean, you get somebody to talk to and play games with or play jokes on. And
yeah, we had some really good times just around the campfire. We'd all be sitting there like hungry and bored, and we'd just start singing or playing like alphabet game and whatever else. I mean, we would just go back to like junior high bus field trip days, just playing silly games and things like that. And it was fun. Mm-hmm. Definitely helped pass the time instead of just sitting there like kicking rocks.
So was there any impact on interpersonal relations as far as the stress and tension of everything going on? Did that add to y'all's ability to, or not add to y'all's ability to get along, but y'all take away from y'all's ability to get along? Were people more cranky? How did that dynamic work out?
Well, people, I think, were automatically cranky just because of the situation, or hangry, maybe, all the time.
So people were getting hangry, and that was that was adding to the stress. I mean, just people getting snappier?
It was. And I mean, when you're already on minimal intake of food, minimal calories, your brain does start shutting down in some ways. Like your mental capacity is a lot more limited. So your emotions are exaggerated. Like something little happens, in the real world, it's no big deal. It happens out there. Everyone just loses it. And it's the biggest deal ever. I'm trying to even think of what it was. I will say I almost tapped out about halfway through the thing.
Really?
Because I was convinced, actually I am still pretty convinced, that my fishing hook and line and pole that I made was taken and hidden by a crew member. I couldn't prove it.
Now, why on earth would they do that?
To create drama? They don't do stuff like that.
No, of course not.
And all the other little things that went missing from different people at very inopportune times, that I'm sure that was coincidence. But I had spent a considerable amount of time on a gorge hook and making this teensy tiny little fine and extremely long piece of cordage that I could use as fishing line. And I had found the perfect pole to attach it to, and I was fishing away with it successfully. And then they came in, made everyone stop what they were doing. Let's all convene. We need to take pictures for the website. We need to take some stills. Everyone, let's take pictures with your tools and this and that. And I've never seen those pictures. I never did anything with them, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting there with my fishing pole and, okay, let's get some pictures without the fishing pole. And I set it by a tree, and there were crew members coming back and forth, like moving stuff around. We did the pictures. And then later I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go fishing. My pole was gone.
That sucks. Because that is a lot of work.
That was my food. Mm-hmm. So I started asking the other crew, I was like, hey, have y'all seen a pole here? And no, I don't know. Nobody could find it. I was so mad. They're like, well, just make another one. I was like, that took me like 3 days. I just like whip up another one.
Yeah.
And I was just so pissed and like hurt. I felt like I was being personally attacked because my pole was gone. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm done with y'all. Y'all are lying to me. I'm being sabotaged, and I'm not gonna play these games. I quit. And they're like, wait, let us get the cameras, and if you're gonna quit, we have to record them. Then it gave me a few minutes to calm down. Like, you know what? No, screw y'all. I'm not gonna quit.
Mm-hmm.
I was so mad that I was like on the verge of tapping out just from frustration.
Mm-hmm.
So little things like that. If that had happened here, like I can't find my favorite coffee mug in the kitchen. Okay, no big deal. But out there, I lose a stick, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Everything is just so much more magnified. And that was pretty consistent with everybody. Everybody out there had a meltdown about some little thing at some point. Even the crew, towards the end of it, they were getting testy and freaked out just like us. And they had hotels and showers and everything else. So that condition is just stressful on everybody.
How did going through this experience change the way, or did it change the way you prep?
Just $3 a month? Are you serious? Listeners, do you get at least $3 a month worth of value out of ITRH? Well, you should see what kind of love we give the Roving Horde Armada members. Check it out today by going to itrh.net. You may be wondering what the Armada members get for their hard-earned money. How about access to every episode ever produced by In the Rabbit Hole? You might be wondering, how many episodes is that? Really? How many could it possibly be? Well, that's about 170 hours of long, deep conversations on preparedness. Can you dig it? You'll receive an invitation to the secret ITRH Armada Facebook group. Did you hear me? Secret. That means you don't know about it, I don't know about it, nobody knows about it. So you can chat about the sweet, sweet survival all night long, baby. And you know how much fun that is. Get a free copy of the book, Owning Your Survival. You'll put that preparedness thing under your spell. Go to itrh.net because you know what Nelly says, it's getting hot in here. Access the famous ITRH Bob and Emergency Kit on demand class. You know what to do with that bag, that perfect bag. You put it on her back. Oh yeah, that's nice right there, baby. You know how I like it. Ammo spreadsheets. Put your bullets in there, big boy. You know how to do it. Shh. Enough said. Monthly in-person and virtual online meetups. We've got to get together, honey badger. Ooh-wee. And that's just a little taste. You like that, don't you? You dirty, dirty boy. Go deeper down the rabbit hole and show that bunny some love. Visit itrh.net to help keep the show safe and sound. That keeps you safe and sound. Now back to you, big boy Aaron.
How did going through this experience change the way, or did it change the way you prep at all? Or the things you focus on in your preps?
It did change my prep focus quite a bit. I used to be a lot more gear oriented. I think a lot of people are when they really first start trying to get serious about their preps.
Oh yeah.
We're all guilty of it. Like we get crazy for gear, and gear's fun. Don't get me wrong. I still love gear. That's one of the things that has, I wouldn't say fallen by the wayside, but I feel like I have enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really focusing on water, not just storage of water, but other ways to obtain water in every situation. Like I've got different types of water filters for different things, different sizes for different bags. Like I don't ever want to be without somehow or some way to get water. And the same thing with food. I've really just amped up my focus on food too, because it was just like, I'll have, some Mountain House stuff, some MREs, like some rice and beans, the basics, and that'll be fine. And I have realized when you're eating the same forage stuff every single day for 6 weeks, you need some variety. Bad. And it gets to the point, even when you're starving, you just do not want to eat another mango. You'd rather die and just let the ants take you than eat one more damn mango. So I really tried to add some spice and some variety to my food preps because, monotony is no fun.
So did it make you look more at storing spices as well?
Yes, I've looked at storing spices, and also like I've been a forager for quite a while, and it was very kind of hand to mouth, like what's a nice leafy green, what's a good nut, what's a good root. And now I'm also looking more at plants that I always kind of dismiss, like, oh, it's just a spice. Like the mints and the basils and things that you can grow even too. I never really paid that much attention to them. I was like, oh, it's just a spice. You just dry it out, sprinkle on your food, no big deal. You're not going to survive on that necessarily. But flavor is important. Flavor counts for morale and all of that. Because when you get in a situation where you are really just eating to survive, when you do get something that tastes good, it just makes your day.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, I think now that I think about it, that actually makes a lot of sense. And I think there is old prep wisdom in, a lot of the old timers will say, store spices and stuff. And I think I've ignored it too for a long time. But then again, I've never gone out for 40 days in the wilderness and tried to survive without any kind of spices. So
it's shocking. And especially when you come back from something like that. I remember we were all, as a group, we could not wait to get to Bogota, because that's where the airport was, and we fly in and out back home. And we were so excited to go to TGIF Fridays. Because there was one in Bogota. We were talking about it like the whole last week of the challenge. Like, I'm going to get macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to get the mudslide. And we were just like planning out our entire menus, everything we were going to eat at Fridays. And we get there, and we order all this stuff. Everyone eats like 2 bites, and we're like, I can't eat it anymore. Number one, you get really full really fast. And number two, it was so salty and so spicy and just so everything. It was just overwhelming. Like you couldn't even eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went through, about 2 years without drinking any kind of soda. And then one day I picked one up and it was just this salty, disgusting mess. And I had to throw it out. And I was like, my God, how did I drink those for all those years? Food tastes totally different when you go without something for a long time.
Definitely.
Now, with the gear, I'm curious about that shift. Is it you said you're not focused on it as much, or is it that you're focused on stuff in a different way, like you were talking about the water filters? And I guess the other question would be, is it, having gone through that experience, does it show you don't need as much as you think you do? Where does that go?
I think your second point is the biggest part of it. Like, I realized that I don't need, 15 different kinds of collapsible fishing poles and types of hooks. Like a piece of bone on a string will catch you fish. So just as an example of gear, like redundancy is key on some level because things break and you want to have backups,
and you never know when somebody's going to steal your fishing pole.
Yes. Just to get you on edge, but yeah, you realize you really don't need a whole lot more than, a couple of knives, a sharp rock every once in a while. No, but when you do go without, you learn how much you don't need. And plus, just over the years, I think I've also kind of hit my limit. I could probably open my own store in my room. I've got so much stuff. I've given a lot of it away in the past couple of years since, those challenges, just to partly just because I don't need so much physical stuff in my space. And also, I have friends and stuff that need it more than me. And if giving them, like a roll of paracord and a knife sparks their interest in survival, in prepping, in being more self-reliant, well, then it's going to basically pay for itself tenfold versus me shoving it in the back of my closet and not using it.
That makes sense. And I think I've kind of gotten to that place too, where it's just, I have too much. I mean, I've joked often in the store, like, why do I have so many stoves and so many different kinds of stoves so yeah, that makes sense.
I have a lot of stoves and like cookware. Other than, a big spoon and a bowl, maybe. You don't need a whole lot else.
So will you do another one of these challenges, or are you done with reality TV?
I washed my hands of it. I fought to get out of contract earlier than the standard. Otherwise, I'd still be stuck under it right now.
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's really nice to not have to do little like Facebook Live events and little stupid things like that, just with it hovering over you. And just, I never wanted to be like a TV person. I just did these challenges because I mean it's a challenge. It's fun. I wasn't doing them for TV. I was kind of doing them in spite of the TV aspect. I mean, I'm glad I did, but I don't want to do them again. I wouldn't change a thing, but I'm done.
So you'd also mentioned that you ended up getting a lot of negative publicity because of the show, just the way the show was edited, and you being portrayed as this raging bitch, which I've never thought of you as being a raging bitch, but that was really how you ended up on TV. What was that like?
Oh, that was so much fun, let me tell you. For one, I'm amazed and saddened that the general TV viewing public takes everything they see at such face value. It makes me really, really kind of sad for the future of our country in general. Not to go too much into that, but don't take everything you see on TV as a literal translation of events that unfolded, people, please. But yeah, I knew I was going to be the bad guy from the beginning on the show because everything was kind of laid out for us. And the way we were grouped up, okay, this is what's going on, this is what we expect to happen, and this and that. And yeah, the people I was supposed to have friction with, I had friction with. You know, they do have a team of psychiatrists evaluating everyone before you go out there. So they knew exactly what my personality type was and my triggers and everything else. And they are putting me with people that are going to push those buttons as hard as they can. And vice versa. They did it to everybody. But it makes good TV. Like, I get that. I understand. There has to be a villain in every situation. If everything was like rainbows and kittens all the time, it would be boring.
Yes.
But it wasn't as bad as it kind of came out to be on TV. And I think most intelligent people can, realize in 6 weeks of human interaction, viewing about 5 hours of it is not going to give you a full scope of reality. But the people that do see what they see and think that is exactly how things are very compelled and moved to tell you everything they think about it.
So is this just like ugly tweets and Facebook posts, or?
No, I wish it was just that, because you can block Facebook, turn off the computer, whatever. I'm getting letters, well, not too many letters in the mail. Most of those mostly come from prisons. For entirely different. They're not hating on me. They're wanting conjugal visits or something. I don't know. Yeah, people are attacking, my friends online. Somebody called my mom at home, I guess because there was a blurb in the local paper, and then they found her in the phone book or something. And
wow,
to give them a piece of my mind that they should not let their daughter go on TV acting like that and being naked and this and that. And she basically told them in that very polite country way they can go screw themselves.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that. But no, it's been relentless. No one has said anything to my face out in public, which is really not surprising. Because, we all know the keyboard warriors and things like that. Just craziness. And it was really strange because I found that Americans, which is the majority because that's, where the shows mostly air and this and that, get really, really butthurt, and they like to, they're crying, bullying, you're bullying this man and this and that. Like, really, he's a 40-year-old man that is like 6'5". He could put me in my place anytime he wanted to. Nobody's bullying anybody. But I get a lot of the very, like, the sensitive, like, butthurt, bullying triggered reactions.
Oh, God.
In the United States, which, okay, whatever. But then different parts of the world react totally differently. Like South America and like Latin America is very, we need to pray for you and things like that. Like, I have evil and I need to be exercised or something. It's really different. Like, they don't ever talk about bullying or being an evil. Then there's the Russians.
Do tell.
I get lots of messages, and I almost want to call that fan mail. They're not mad at me at all over there. They're like, it's very encouraging, very friendly. The Russians, they like a feisty broad.
Yes. Having met a number of Russian women in my day, they tend to be pretty sassy.
Yeah, and the sassy American girl is right up their alleys. I've had some very interesting requests from Russians.
I'm afraid to even ask what kind of interesting requests.
So a couple of marriage proposals in broken English. It's actually kind of cute. So I figure if I ever need to run away from the United States for any reason, I might have a good shot going to Russia. I don't know.
How do you end up dealing with a lot of these? I mean, I guess I'm assuming it has calmed down for you.
Luckily, the public has a very short attention span for the most part, like the faithful TV watchers. So when the season has ended or something else comes in to replace it, boom, that's it. And I'll just get a couple of stragglers that come in here and there that just got it on Hulu or something.
That's pretty funny. How did you end up dealing with a lot of these lovely examples of humanity?
I took a lot of it personally. I was like, you don't even know me. And like, don't call me a bitch. You're a bitch. I'll just, act right at them. But then after a little while, I realized this is stupid. This is futile. They have their minds made up. Like, if I'm, a raging, awful bitch for no reason on TV, then that's just how it's going to be. So it does not matter who I am in person or what really happened. Facts don't matter. It's just what they saw on TV. And that's how it is. And that's what they're going to tell me about. Like, I care. But finally I was like, screw it. Basically, when you just kind of step away from the computer, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
So at first I wanted to be combative and defend myself. And then I realized it doesn't matter. Who cares if they think I'm a bitch? Let them, maybe they'll leave me alone. They won't come up to me in the grocery store and tell me about it if they think I'm that mean. Better for me.
That would be an entertaining thing to watch. So what are you doing with yourself now?
Oh, well, now I am all over the place, really kind of buckling down, focusing on my work, still doing, the makeup stuff. But I've had this little side project kind of on the back burner for a good while now. Of course, I've been, prepping for quite a while and trying desperately to convert like my friends and people that are like the I'm just going to come to your house crowd.
Oh, God, yeah.
Slowly but surely, I was working on all of them pretty much one by one. Like, instead of coming to my house, let me help you fix up your place so you don't have to come to my house because I might not be here and I might not take you in. So it kind of started there. I've actually kind of begun a new venture and turned that, I guess, I don't know how to say it, that effort into a business.
Oh, cool.
Because I've kind of helped some friends get their preps together and kind of get set up and feel secure. And it kind of sparked that fire in them to take it and run with it and do everything themselves instead of just like, oh, I'll just come to your house. And they're like, well, you can come to my house now. And that's awesome. And it's kind of spread from my friends have started telling some of their friends because now they're the I'll just come to your house friend. And they know how it feels. And now they get it. So they're kind of spreading the word of preparedness and things like that to their friends. And it kind of circles back to me. Like, oh, well, go ask Alana. She'll help you. She'll tell you about it. And with all of this going on, I was like, there's an opportunity here. So now I have a business kind of formed around what I've been doing all along. I'm doing home organization with kind of an emphasis and a spin on household preparedness and self-reliance.
And that's pretty cool. That's because it's better than, I mean, that actually sounds more interesting than the straight preparedness consultant.
Oh, yeah, because what is that anyways? I mean, and to even be prepared for anything, there's still a foundation even before. Like, you have to kind of have your proverbial ducks in a row before you can start planning for the future. Like, you have to have the right now kind of figured out before the what if can be figured out, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not being a jackass, but so what does a professional organizer do?
In a nutshell, we simply make life more efficient. That's the overall scope of what a professional organizer does. Now, different organizers all have different styles. They may have different focuses. Some may concentrate on information digitizing and filing and home office systems. Some may focus on elderly clients or moving and relocation setup, things like that. My particular scope definitely focuses more on that home safety and preparedness sort of aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, you think of a professional organizer and immediately think of like the pictures of the perfect Pinterest closet with the matching white wicker baskets with the little labels on them. And that's the Martha Stewart stuff. That's not my style. If that's what you're into, that's great. We can make it happen. But mine is definitely more utilitarian and function over form. So it's very kind of nitty gritty, kind of grab and go, everything portable, everything collapsible, definitely maximization of space, but not a lot of frills and bells and whistles. Unless you're into that, then, no judgment.
You can still girly it up.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want all your stuff to be in the little baskets with the bows and the little velvet linings, and yeah, let's do it. But generally, I try to keep everything very economical for the client, utilizing as much of what they already have as possible instead of going out and buying these big, expensive alpha systems and matching totes and baskets and things like that. I try to utilize what they've already got. So that's more my style. You can kind of think of a professional organizer as a personal trainer for your home. It's kind of like that. Like, you could kind of go through things and declutter and sort and file. But if you're stuck in a rut or can't get started, that's where you might bring a trainer in. Like, if you just can't get motivated to start exercising, you bring an organizer in to just start getting your space in shape to be more efficient. It's kind of that same thing.
Is it something you just get into because you're good at it, or how does that work?
I think you do have to have sort of an aptitude or maybe a gene for that. I'm not sure, but it's something that has interested me for a very long time because I come from a family of hoarders. So like a long time ago, I started really just kind of for selfish reasons, researching and taking classes and going to workshops to figure out how to just like help the members of my family and make things a little bit less crazy for me. I would go over to a relative's house or something and just immediately get an anxiety attack because there was like stuff everywhere. Nobody could ever find anything. And I was like, this needs to stop. Got to stop the madness. So I took it upon myself to get education in that area in order to just initially help my family. And then it kind of spread into friends and friends of friends. And then, of course, preparedness is something I'm hugely passionate about. And I try to kind of spread that motivation to just about everybody I can talk to for more than 5 minutes. And it just kind of morphed into a business. It ended up being something that there is definitely a need for. And there are not a lot of people out there combining these two schools. So I saw a great opportunity to really get that information and get that out there, just to really physically help people get started on that path to self-reliance.
Are, I guess, the organization and the are either those like certified things? Is there like permaculture and stuff like that? It's like all kinds of different certifications and stuff that from different organizations. How does that work in an organization?
Well, with organizing, there's not necessarily a degree program or anything like that that is specific to that. A lot of it is just kind of work experience. There are a few organizations that have a certain set of standards to adhere to. They're mostly ethics based, but do have some kind of industry standards in place. One of those is the National Association for Professional Organizers, which I am a part of. So I do adhere to that standard of business and the way I run things. They do have a website if you're interested, napo.net, I think. Maybe .org. I believe it's napo.net, and it kind of lays out everything. As far as that, it's mostly just certifications in very specific things, like hoarding. One is photo restoration. For example, that's one type of certification that can be involved in something I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's little things. I kind of go in and I help people just get their day-to-day act together. And then it's like, okay, now that your life is functioning, your space is functioning, now let's get you together for the what ifs. And I just keep it really, really basic. I don't go in and create like the Men in Black style pull out wall of weapons and the underground bunker with 50 years of beans. And I don't do that.
Mm.
I get people's spaces or offices or whatever their particular situation is. I get it organized, which just helps them be less stressed and get a handle on things. Not necessarily just organization as far as physical things, but like a system of being organized. Because what a professional organizer does is we work with clients, and it's basically just about enhancing their lives by teaching them organizational skills. So it's very much a teaching act instead of I'll just go in and do this for you. And, here you go. Now you go do it. No, it's very much a teaching situation. And we just create a more efficient space, whether it's your home, your office, vehicle, if somebody works out of their car, what have you.
So it's essentially just getting them together, both mentally and in their physical space of being organized. And then from there, you start helping them with like the preparations.
Yes.
What does that usually entail?
Well, I like to keep it very simple and very basic. The people that I'm really kind of reaching out to and the people I'm helping are the ones that know it's a good idea, want to get involved, want to be prepared, want to have that security and that insurance, if you will, in place. But they make the mistake of getting on the internet and Googling prepping or how to prep.
Like so many of us did.
Yes. And then here comes the doom and gloom, the fallout shelters, and all of this stuff. And it's just overwhelming. And they just throw their hands up at it. And they're like, well, I don't know. I want to be prepared for whatever, but people don't know what to do, where to start with it. That's usually the hardest part, is just getting started. So what I do is once their space is made more efficient, their day-to-day is improved, I help them first narrow down the reasons they might want to prep. That's a huge part of it, because what might be preparedness to one person is something totally different to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Houston, we're looking at floods and hurricanes. Maybe that's where they are concerned about. Well, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great place to start. Because like prepping applies to so many different situations. So if they want to focus on like a weather situation, that's fine. They're at least that much closer to being completely self-reliant when something else happens. And sometimes people are worried about maybe losing their job. So they're trying to kind of get all their ducks in a row and kind of prepare for like a financial crisis or something like that. That's another thing that is a real life practical reason that somebody might want to prep. Like I try not to talk about the doom and gloom and everything and the aliens and the zombies and economic collapse and all that stuff. I try to keep it very practical. Layoffs, maybe like a sudden financial burden, medical bills, things like that. And a lot of people, just saving money is a great angle to get people started into prepping, because they're like, oh, I can't afford to buy all this stuff right now. And then you're thinking, well, if you buy it now, you don't have to buy it next year when it costs more. So something like that, even just from a purely practical standpoint, people are not worried about anything at all except maybe saving a little money, I will kind of show them how to do that in their everyday situation without it overwhelming them. Because that's another problem with people that already actively prep. Sometimes you have too much stuff.
No.
And your house starts to look like the camping section at an academy or something. And you just need to get a handle on it.
Yeah.
That's very useful too. If you can actually use your bedroom for what it's designed for instead of just storage for other stuff.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I have I have an area of the studio that does kind of look like an outdoor store with shelving and everything. So, but what are some of the kind of, I guess, most common things that you run into in people's stuff that you have to fix or fine tune? I'm not really sure the right way to say that.
Well, the most common thing I run into is just general clutter. Like people, especially if you're in a house versus an apartment, you have more room or you've maybe been there longer. People tend to accumulate stuff, and it's not always their fault. People are gifted things, they inherit things, whatever the case may be, people tend to have more than they need. And most of the stuff that they are living around and living with adds zero value to their life, is not useful for anything in any other way, and is not necessarily valuable. Like if you have a home full of valuable antiques or something, okay, that could be an investment. Make them look nice, sort them around, but you might not want to get rid of them all just yet. But if you have just like boxes of old magazines and mismatched socks and, taking up a whole drawer and lots of things like that, that's not doing anybody any good. And it's just encroaching on your space when you could be using that space for something more valuable.
Well, really cool. How long does the process, like how much time do you end up having to spend with them?
It really depends. One person's clutter is another person's minimalist. It really just depends on that person's comfort level and what kind of level of organization makes them feel better. Some, like a closet, for example, if, the person doesn't have too much stuff, it could take, 2, 3, 4 hours to clear it out and just reorganize it. If it's like a family of 4 trying to live in one closet and everything's like crammed in and boxes on top of boxes and it's bursting at the seams, that might take a little bit longer. It really just kind of depends on what you're starting with.
So how do people connect with you? How do they get started? You've got a website, I assume. I do have a website. It's prepperfection.com, and that is on Facebook as well. You can message me, and sometimes I'll post some pictures before and after stuff and what's going on and where I'm going, because I do travel quite a bit kind of throughout the southern United States and the Midwest corridor. So I do work all over the country. Cool. So what's the website address one more time? It's prepperfection.com. Well, awesome. Alana, as always, so much fun having you on, and I look forward to next time already. Thanks so much. Show notes, resources, and links to Alana can be found at intherabbithole.com/E192. And like Phil said, visit itrh.net to find out about membership benefits and how you can help keep this show safe and sound that helps keep you safe and sound. Again, that's itrh.net. And with that, we wrap up episode number 192 from the Lone Star State. Till next time, stay safe and sound.